What's up, everybody? This is Coach Daniel from Courtical Hoops, and today we're going to talk about the psychology of being on a streak. You all know the feeling, where every shot seems to fall, the hoop feels wider, and you're just in the zone. So is this feeling a fluke, or can we recreate this? On today's video, we're going to talk about players who seemingly came out of nowhere and just caught fire, and what was going through their minds when they were doing it. Were these players simply playing outside of their capabilities? Bob Rotella, the author of Golf is Not a Game of Perfect, would argue otherwise. He says in his quote, "Perhaps they thought during their streak they played over their head. They did not. The hot streak represents the golfer's true capabilities. It results essentially from trust. The golfer's trust in his abilities. He does things unconsciously. The swing repeats itself, and it feels effortless." This is just such an amazing quote because during our streaks, most people think they're playing beyond their capabilities, when the streak actually represents your true potential, what you can do, as long as you keep your mind out of the way of playing your best game. You have to play in the moment. And we say this all the time, but today we're going to kind of actually try to analyze what that means. How do you play in the moment? How do you recreate your streak? You guys might be wondering, why are we talking about Bob Rotella? What does golf have to do with basketball? They're actually very similar with regards to the streak. Your swing, your golf swing, and your shot mechanics are both precise technical sequences that you have to repeat over and over again to get the results that you want. So today's lesson, we're going to focus on Terrence Ross, a guy who came seemingly out of nowhere with career averages of 9.6 points per game for the Toronto Raptors to score 51 points in a single game, January 25th, 2014, against the Los Angeles Clippers. His post-game interview is exactly what Bob Rotella is talking about. Let's take a look.
What's it feel like when you got it going like that?
It feels good.
And when you're in the flow of the game, when the game's unfolding, what does it feel like to know that you're that hot?
You don't think about it. Once you're trailing in the game and you kind of just doing whatever you need to do to get you back in it, you don't really realize what you're doing until it's all over.
Did you know this year when you had the franchise record and 50?
No idea.
Was there a different mindset going into today's game?
I don't know. I was go with the same mindset, just focus. Being ready to play. My teammates were just they had confidence in me. Every time I was open, they passed it to me, so I shot it, and that's what they want me to do. So just kept shooting. We had a lot of scores. Amir could score, Kyle could score, Graves could score. So I wasn't worried about that. It's just knowing your role and just making sure you basically just when they call your number, make sure you present yourself to opportunity.
So during the post-game interview, the media was asking Terrence Ross what was going through his head when he was on fire. Was he thinking about breaking the record set by Vince Carter, which he tied? His answer was, I wasn't thinking about anything. You don't think about anything. His team was down. He basically said he was just doing whatever he needed to do to get back into the game. That's just such a beautiful, beautiful response because it shows exactly the state of mind you have to be in to catch fire. He wasn't getting in the way of what he was doing. Another interesting note to add about how he accomplished this feat is he hit his first 4 threes to start off the game. And a lot of times when people start off hot, they start trusting their mechanics, they stop thinking about their mechanics, and they just continue to play well. So this is essentially textbook being in the moment and all systems firing at the same time. But is this outside of Terrence's potential? No. He can do this again, for sure. He just has to believe in himself and play in the moment and, again, do what he needed to do to help his team win. And maybe that's score 51 points. Maybe it's something else. And this interview definitely reminds me of many of Bob Rotella's quotes. He says, "I've asked many of my golfers to recall and describe their state of mind during their hot streak. I've yet to hear one respond that he was thinking of his swing mechanics. Most would say that the hot streak enabled them to stop thinking about swing mechanics." This Bob Rotella book, especially when talking about free throws and streaks and everything like that, as far as sports psychology, as far as performance psychology, definitely one of the best books I've ever read. It can apply to all sports where you're focusing on mechanics to produce results. Just like basketball, just like golf, just like most sports in general. How do we recreate this mindset? How do we play in the moment? There's two principles that we're going to talk about today. One is trust, and two is preparation. So without preparation, without practice, without repping your shot mechanics, it doesn't matter how much trust you have, how much belief, how much playing in the moment you're doing, you're not going to be able to score 51 points in a game. Your preparation, the work you put in the gym, the practice you put in, that's what's going to make you be able to seize those moments when they present themselves. So just have that clear in your head right off the bat. The other thing that preparation does and practice does is it allows you to eliminate doubt, and it builds confidence, because by working your problems out in the gym before playing in the game, you're gaining that trust. So obviously the second thing is trust. And Bob Rotella talks about this all the time. We talk about this all the time. We call it belief. But trusting in your preparation is what allows you to hit those streaks. Doubt is the opposite of trust. Anytime you have doubt, really doubt has no importance for basketball. You should try to eliminate it. A lot of people will contest that and say, oh, I should be, feeling doubt, like, oh, I can lose this game, or, maybe I'll miss this shot because it gives me a mental edge. I don't think it gives you a mental edge. I think it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think about missing something, you're probably going to miss it. And like Bob Rotella says, none of his players during their hot streaks were doubting themselves. They were not thinking about their or their swing mechanics or anything like that. They were just trusting in their preparation. So they go hand in hand, trust and preparation. So just some final thoughts on this. Here's some other players who have essentially come out of nowhere to have amazing runs in basketball or in other sports. And the first one, obviously, that comes to mind is Linsanity, Jeremy Lin. We all remember Linsanity, where Jeremy Lin came out of nowhere, came off the bench, Carmelo Anthony was out, and it seemed like he couldn't miss anything. And the other one is Jimmer Fredette. We all remember Jimmer at BYU. He had Jimmer range, which means he could basically shoot anywhere on the court. He was the 2011 College National Player of the Year. And he led his team all the way to the Sweet 16, despite being from a mid-major conference. So, given that, what do both of these players have in common? They're both incredibly, fundamentally religious. And you might be wondering, what does religion have to do with basketball, with preparation, practice, being in the moment? For these players, their unwavering belief in something outside of themselves allows them to eliminate doubt while trusting themselves. Obviously, those two worked incredibly hard. Obviously, those are great players. And I'm not saying you have to be religious or anything like that. I'm showing you guys another example of how belief contributes to playing in the streak. The goal of this video is to be able to recreate that mindset, to be able to play to our full potential every single game. Thank you guys so much for the support on our last couple of videos. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. We'll try to answer it. Like, subscribe, and share. It really helps us grow our channel. And we'll see you guys on the next one.